This is Dub Revolution. Music Show.
Welcome folks to chapter 16 of the Jah Siri Riddim sessions with your root selector, Professor Justin. It's a lovely track from Rico and the Rudies getting us going today. That's Emmanuel Rico Rodriguez, one of Jamaica's great hornsmen. This track is called Session Man and it's from his 1969 album Blow Your Horn.
Yes. Sing psalms unto Jah Jah. The Lord is in the time of trouble. The name of God to Rastafari defend thee. Send thee in from thy sanctuary and strengthen thee out of Zion. Remember all thine offerings and accept thy burnt sacrifice.
Right, we're going to go back to Rico in a minute, but we've moved on to the Black Ark now in the mid-70s. This is James Boone's, it's called Psalms 20, and it's that classic Black Ark sound. It's got a fantastic dub coming up just now.
We will rejoice in the salvation, and in the name of our God, we will set up banners. The Lord will fulfill all his petitions. Yeah. None no time. The Lord saveth is anointed. He will heal thee from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but I and I will remember the name of the Lord God Rastafari. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand up right. Take if you know jokes stop.
And here's that dub, just hear it as it comes in. It's great stuff.
Yes. Sing song. And yeah. Set up. You feel all this good.
Quite a eclectic selection for our session today. We're going to play a bit more Rico, and then we're going to move over to Jimmy Cliff, throw in a bit of Derek Morgan, throw in some Sly and Robbie, and then we're going to have a bit of a dancehall turn with some Yellow Man and A Paul. Then we're going to go back to the Black Ark, go via Culture, back to Jimmy Cliff, and end with the Mad Professor. It's going to be a good session.
Take if you know joke stop, yam up the pork stop. Oh. Stop, yam up.
And to nod, keep back now, and to self, tell men something even if one
Okay, so we're back to Rico and his album Blow Your Horn. This track is called Dr. Sure Shot, and it's actually credited to Dandy and the Israelites.
That's my name, that's my fame. Anytime, anywhere, you'll hear people say, Doctor Sure Shot.
Rico really is one of the old timers. He first recorded with Cox and Dodd in '58. In the '60s he moved to the UK, and that's when he worked a lot with Dandy and this group, the Israelites, about not much is known. He later got much more fame when he worked with Sly and Robbie and the Specials with the two-tone revival of the late '70s. It's great stuff, this.
Doctor Sure Shot. Doctor Sure Shot. My loving touch, you need so much. Come on and take it down. Oh, the lights are blue. Doctor Sure Shot.
Alright, let's go to another old timer now, Jimmy Cliff. Next up, it's Every Tub, and it's from his 1975 album, Brave Warrior.
Every tub have to sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet.
I really love this track. It was actually remixed by Bunny Lee, and you can kind of hear it. It's got that kind of rootsy vibe. So good.
Well, I know I am your brother and we're servants for each other, so we got to pull together in any kind of weather. Yes, it's one and wash the other, and we got to live together, but don't be a lazy bum, you will end up in a slum, because
every tub have to sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet. Every tub have to sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet.
in this continuous chain of life, everyone must play a part. What you say from your mouth, you should mean it in your heart. We are leaning on each other and we must understand. So you bear me up, I'll bear you up for the good of everyone. Cause
every tobacco sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet. Every tobacco sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet.
well, every man for himself and God for us all. If I see you start to stumble, I'll catch you before you fall. But you gotta help yourself before you help someone else. If you don't do for self, you can't turn to no one else. Because
every tobacco sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet. Yes, every tobacco sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet. Every tobacco sit on its own bottom. Every man have to stand on his own 2 feet. Yes, every tobacco sit on its own bottom. And every man have to stand on his own 2 feet.
well, I know I am your brother and we're servants for each other. So we got to pull together in any kind of weather. Yes, I want and wash the other, and we got to live together. But don't be a lazy bum or you end up in a slum. Because
every club have to sit on its own bottom.
Always brings a smile to my face, that track. Alright, let's take another track that also brings a smile to my face with another old timer, Derek Morgan, and also produced by Bunny Lee. This is Rough Grinder.
My pussy cat, she was a rough whiner, a miserable whiner, a dangerous grinder. I had to cool stroke her last night. Last night, I feel so on it today.
Maybe I should have put out a warning for his explicit lyrics. This is from his 1977 album People's Decision, which was mixed at King Tubby's and produced by Bunny Lee, and you can kind of hear it. It's an interesting album because one side is very political and the other side is very rude. This track is from the rude side.
And that dangerous rhino last night. I don't know what to say when you saw me yesterday, but I know what to say if you see for me today. She was a strong whiner, a acrobatic grinder. She laughed sick coochie last night. I got to get me brush tonight. I'm gonna use this stud and be a merciless joker, a revengeful whiner. I'm gonna stick the beef and leave it in grief tonight, because she chopped me wood, she chopped me wood last night.
Okay, we moved on to something a bit different and a little bit more recent. This is Sly and Robbie, probably the most well-known rhythm section, not just in Jamaica but across the world. This is from their album The Summit, which came out in 1988. It's called All Aboard. Sly and Robbie appear on so many tracks that I play because they were so dominant. They were such key players and continue to be in the reggae scene, so innovative. They were really key players in the whole Channel 1 rockers sessions and changing the rhythms from the one drop, moving on to the splashing cymbal in the 70s, but then later played with really famous international stars from Peter Tosh to Mick Jagger to Bob Dylan and others. But some of their individual albums in the 80s and 90s were really experimental and really innovative, and this is a really nice example of that. Just brilliant. It's worth checking out a couple of YouTube clips and of interviews with Sly and Robbie, because they come across both as enormously talented but also very modest and quite wry and sly with a great sense of humour. I should also have added, of course, that they were the main rhythm section for Black Uhuru and their enormous success in the early and mid 80s. Okay, very nice. Let's stick with the 80s and the early dancehall scene and go over to Yellow Man. Next up is a track called Who Can Make the Dance Ram, and it's from his 1983 album Zungu 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 Zen.
Dedicate this one to all my fans in Jamaica and in England, especially in the United States, Germany and France. Lord, you make me feel alright. People make me feel alright. Here, come me say, who can make the dance ram? Who can make the dance ram? Who can make it pop? Who can make it pop? No other DJ in this island. Go Yellow Man can, go Yellow Man can. Come, who can make the dub play? Who can make the dub play? Night and day, night and day. No other sound in this island. Go my sound can, go my sound can. Is a Yellow Man with the mic in a me hand. The Ungo DJ don't run down woman. Cause in every parish me have 50 woman. The only DJ no run competition. But here Yellow Man Ungo sing one song. You make me feel alright. People make me feel alright. Here come me say, who can make the dance ram? Who can make the dance ram? Who can make it pop? Who can make it pop? No other DJ in this island. Ungo Yellow Man can, the number one. But who can make the dub play? Who can make the dub play? Night and day, night and day. No other sound in this island. Ungo my sound can, the champion. Aram Yellow come here for me. Cause Yellow Man in no chat it with Prentice. Cause Yellow Man in full of lyrics. Me go name all the DJ in the island. You have Peter Metro, you have Welton, you have Brigadier, you have Tayana, you have Sassafras, Buru, Fimi Second, you have Fated and you have Pidurang. When me come first and then come second, when me chat Riddim one by one, is a Yellow Man come for ram obsession. You make me feel alright. People make me feel alright. Yeah, come me say, who can make the dance ram? Who can make the dance ram? Who can make it pop? Who can make it pop? No other DJ in this island. Ongo yellow man can, go yellow man can. But who can make it up play? Who can make it up play? Night and day, night and day. No other sound in this island. Ongo my sound can. The champion, double it stand the bad man wagon. And if I'm right, I can't be wrong. So please play this on the radio station and make me feel alright. People make me feel alright. Yeah, can you say who can make me dance from? Who can make me dance from? Who can make it pop? Who can make it pop? No other DJ in this island. Ongo yellow man can, the champion. But who can make the dub play? Who can make the dub play? Night and day, night and day. No other sound in this island. Ongo my sound can, the champion. Relax, sweet.
Classic Yellow Man there. Alright, let's see what happened in the 10 years after 1983. Next up is a version of this track. It's called, again, Who's Gonna Make the Dance Ram? But this one's by Tenafly and Nico Jr. It came out in 94. Something had happened on the dancehall scene. You can hear it here.
Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Make everybody feel right. Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Nice up the session tonight.
Got them get in a dance hall arena. No one Bobby Brown, then I want Stevie Wonder. Vanilla Ice, then I want them say I'm a coffee, then I fight, and they want Nickel Junior. People, straight from me heart, Nickel Junior, me love you know. I want to sit and a fly him reach the pinnacle. Cutting good lyrics every day, you mustn't idle. Listen when me come to tell you no. Who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it that rap? But the Nico, and I fly past my canto one. Who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it that rap? Pussy fly. Nico Junior, we a get a youth man. Sing.
Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Make everybody feel right. Who's gonna make the dance rap?
Enough respect unto all the yeah, we're in a Canada, RD, USA, Japan and Jamaica and the UK. Reggae start in a the getaway down Jamaica. And respect Bob Malik, you are the elder. And the one Maxi Freeze, and the one named Shabba. That is them paid the way and push it further. Here where we come fi tell you now. Who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it dance from? But the Nico, and I fly past my canto and who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it dance from? Pussy fly. Because you know we are get one youth man. Sing.
Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Make everybody feel right. Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Nice up the session.
We run the dance, we are the main attraction. Get phone call from no promoter man. When we come in the dance and make it dance from. I could my everyone. Them no want super cat and them no want ninja man. Them no want cabra, them no want Capleton. Them no want Roddy Harry, them no want Simplet. And them want Tenafly, pick up on the version for thing. Who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it dance from? But the Nico Tenafly pass my canto and who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it dance from? Pussy fly. Because you know we a get a youth man. Sing.
Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Make everybody feel right. Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Nice up the session.
With them call, with the promoter them call fi come rum up the face show and the dance hall. With them call, with the promoter them call fi come rum up the face show and the dance hall. We just a pick up the microphone and make it dance all them. Rum dance for woman and we rum dance for man. Now so Tenafly and the reporter man. Easy Nickel Junior, you know say you are. Come now, who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it dance from? Bucky Nico Tenafly pass my canto and who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it dance from? Musty fly. Nickel Junior, we a get a youth man. Sing.
Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Make everybody feel right. Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Nice up the session tonight.
This was put out in a 12-inch on the Fashion Records label, and it's got a nice dub version called Dub the Dance, which I'm going to put on just now.
When we trod this land, we walk forward.
Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Make everybody feel right. Who's gonna make the dance rap? Who's gonna make the dance rap? Nice up the session tonight.
Nice track that, and a nice dub, particularly when you drop in a few rootsy samples from Misty and Roots, eh? Alright, let's go back to the 70s, let's go back to the Black Ark now. This is Errol Walker with Better Future, produced by Lee Scratch Perry.
Ever since my life begun, Mama told me that Jamaicans are all one. That's why I can't see why we fight among ourselves, why rob and shoot and kill one another. Black or white is no disgrace, we're still part of the human race. We must learn to live in this society with one hope, one will, we're one people. There will come a time when every knee shall bend, when every tongue shall tell all the wrongs they have done. There will come a time when everyone shall know the real meaning What a day that will be. I hope my life is spared to see the day when people won't be scared to walk the streets at night to buy the things they need without any threat from aggressors. So let's not waste our time. Let us get rid of the violence and the crime. Let us make this land a better place to live, build a better future for the children. There will come a time when every knee shall bend, when every tongue shall tell all the wrongs they have done. There will come a time when everyone shall know the real meaning of love. What the day that will be. What the day that will be.
This track was one of a whole bunch of tracks that kind of disappeared after Lee Perry burned down the Black Ark. But it was put out again on a compilation in 1996, put together by Precious Sounds, which is a subsidiary of Onu Sound System. It's called Voodooism. It's a fucking great collection, really worth it. It's a great track. It's got a nice dub too, it's called Future Dub. It's coming up in just a moment.
Build a better future, yeah.
Really exceptional work there by Lee Scratch Perry. Great dub. That's from 1977. Right, let's move to 79 and a very famous reggae roots band, Culture. This is Jah Rastafari.
Too long in our little ghetto, wrong's been going on, let's protest. Children of Israel who really love right. For Jah said I and I as a watchman around Babylonian wall. Oh, children of Israel. While wrong is going on, day or night, man bust down Babylon gates. I say prepare the way, prepare the way for your people. Fight down war and crime, fight down war and crime, fight down war and crime, and build up righteousness. Hear him now, Jah Rastafari, Jah Rastafari, Jah Rastafari, preserve our people. Come on, Jah Rastafari, Jah Rastafari, Jah Rastafari, preserve our people. Yeah.
This was put out in 79 on their very well-known album International Herb, which was produced at Treasure Isle Studios and put out on the Virgin label. It really takes me back to this. This is one of the first albums I ever had. I probably had it on cassette when I was just a wee lad. It's nice to get it on vinyl now. It's a bit of a scratchy vinyl, but what a great track.
Just said I and I still as a watchman around Babylonian wall. I and I should never hold our peace while we are penalized day and night. We should chant down Babylon doors. I said prepare the way, prepare the way for your people.
Right, well, if we're going to dust off some of these great reggae classics from the 70s, let's go back to Jimmy Cliff. I did promise I would. Next up is a track called Fundamental Reggae from 1975. This is going to make you smile.
I know you love music, I know you like sound. Some people like rhythm, well, just stick around. This is the music for all who love beat, to suit their nature and move every feet. This is fundamental reggae, fundamental reggae, fundamental reggae. Oh, we're taking it with you all the way. It's got some calypso, just Latin rock afro, a classical notion to still your emotion. So gather round children, tell mommy and papi, you found the solution to make everyone happy. Dig it, fundamental reggae, fundamental reggae,
We've got to give Jimmy Cliff his due credit. This guy was there from the very beginning, right in the 60s. He put out his first hit when he was 14 with Leslie Kong and worked with Leslie Kong until Leslie Kong's death in 71. And he's still performing. It's incredible, really. Perhaps sometimes overlooked because some of his reggae is a bit mainstream and he's not so into the rootsy vibe. He's not a Rasta. He really deserves his place, and he didn't get the Order of Merit for nothing, and I think the tracks I played today really show that. Okay folks, we're coming to the end of our session, and it's been a really wonderful eclectic session, I think, going from the early ska and rocksteady period through the roots and the black art period, right up to dancehall and then back again. So I'm going to leave you with a great track from one of the great eclectic masters of the whole genre, Mad Professor himself. This is called Get Drunk and Celebrate. Okay folks, that's Mad Professor reminding us that however grim things look, we can always go out and celebrate, get drunk. I hope you've enjoyed the session. There'll be more coming soon, I'm sure. Thanks for listening. One people, one world, one life.
If you want more of this music out there,
You're listening to Jah Siri
Rhythm Session.
Do you read me loud and clear?